The most common question I get as an employment attorney is, do I have a case? It usually comes in the context of a termination. Somebody gets fired, they call me up, they ask, well, do I have a case? Can I file a lawsuit in this instance? My first two questions are, what was the reason they gave for your termination? And what do you think was the true reason for your termination? If we can discredit the reason given for your termination, that's part of the inquiry as to whether or not there's a case there. We have to figure out on the front end, can we discredit that reason? Employers never give reasons that are discriminatory or illegal on their face, so we usually or sometimes focus on the second part of that inquiry, which is, what do you think was the real reason for your termination? If somebody were to tell me, well, I think that the real reason is that my boss is afraid of my superior qualifications, I'm going to say you don't have a case. I've got to start with at least a belief that the termination was for reasons that could be considered unlawful. It's my job to figure out whether that person's belief fits within a law that prohibits that termination. There are times when somebody may say, well, I'm not sure what the true reason is for my termination. And then we'll talk some more and figure out whether there are circumstances which indicate that there's a possible violation of law. The possibilities or the possible reasons that an employer can fire an employee are almost infinite. That's the at-will doctrine. An employee can be fired for good reason, bad reason, or no reason at all. On the flip side of that, an employee can leave the employment of an employer for good reason, bad reason, or no reason at all. The courts look at it like a two-way street, although in most times there's a disparity in bargaining power. In most instances, the employer needs the employee less than the employee needs the job. The employee needs the job more than the employer needs them. But in any case, that's the way the courts look at it. If all the possible reasons for termination can fill a room and all the air in it, the reasons that are illegal would be like the keyhole in that room. You have to find an exception to the at-will doctrine, which says thou shalt not. The most common exceptions to the at-will doctrine are the discrimination laws: age, race, sex, color, religion, national origin, disability discrimination, and sexual orientation. There's ways to prove those cases that I'm going to have to talk about in another video. And it's important to remember that not all instances of unfairness are illegal. There is no generic law that says somebody has to be treated fairly in the workplace. Life is not fair. But in those instances where there is unfairness and there's a violation of law and we can prove it at trial, it's a great day.